Today, we will be talking about how I would patch Marvel Rivals instead of what Guan Guan and that other dude did.
He's
Horrible
one
work.
Wuxia.
I'm not saying all that Chinese nitpick rule, bruh. They just did horrible work for real. But let's start with the first category, Vanguards, who I didn't really change a lot. The first few characters, Captain America, Angela, Penny Parker, Rogue, Magneto, The Thing, Thor, and Venom, are all characters in the Vanguard position that I did not change. Now, The Thing, I'm not too sure on if I should change him or not, but I just came to the decision that he doesn't need any, at least for right now. Then, for the first thing I would make changes to, Doctor Strange. Change his Minstrel Storm of Madness to like 5 meter range instead of the 8 meters it currently has. And we got a Doctor Strange main here, and I'm just gonna
Yes,
tell
sir.
him I don't give a fuck. It's gonna
Bro,
be 5 meters.
don't nerf my goat, bro. He's just fine as he is.
Sure. He's a defensive tank that doesn't need those highlights. Emma Frost, however, I would buff her shield to 500 health instead of 400, and bring her damage negation to 35% instead of the 25 it is. Mind you,
20% it is now after the new patch.
yeah, mind you, all these stats are before the new patches. These are all from season 6.5 stats and not the season 7 stats they showed in those patch notes, which are horrible.
God save us, bro. God save us.
Yeah. Then the next hero we're gonna be looking at is Groot, who I changed his Vine Strike, his primary fire damage, to 60 damage when it was 65 before. I just think he does a little too much damage in conjunction with those walls. And speaking of walls, I increased the cooldown of his smaller walls to 10 seconds. You have 2 charges of them, just time them correctly. When before that cooldown was 6, and then his Iron Wall cooldown is now 18 seconds instead of 12. Because why do you need to be immovable every 12 seconds? Tell me.
Why not, bro? Why
No,
not?
fuck you.
He's Groot, the immovable wall, bro. He has to be the most annoying
Yeah.
character in the entire game.
And then for the biggest changes I made to the tank category is Hulk. Now these are some big changes, so sit back, grab some snacks while I ramble on. First, I would increase his health to 700 instead of the 650 it is right now. Then I would increase his heavy blow damage by 5, turning it from 40 to 45. Then I would increase his indestructible guard to last 3 seconds instead of the 2.5 it is right now, and make his incredible leap. Now, I don't know why they have it like this. Now, his normal incredible leap is minimum 19 meter jump, and maximum 25. Now, why is it 19? I don't know. They're weird with numbers. So I'm changing it to 20 meters at minimum and 30 meters at maximum for his incredible leap. Then I'm also going to make his gamma burst pierce, because, that would be good. I think that would be a good change for the move. And then I would add a new passive to Hulk to make him even better. And this is the part where I'm going to be rambling on for a while, because I actually put thoughts into the passives I create. Now, I would call it Gamma Rage. And basically Hulk would gain a bar, maximum capacity of 80 meters. Why'd I say 80 meters? Of 180. And it fills by him taking damage. And it fills up with, let's say, 18 per hit. Let's say 18, 16 per hit he takes. And it will slowly build up over time. But after 5 seconds of Hulk not taking damage, it will decay by 35 energy per second. Now, his transformation with Gamma Rage will increase his will affect his moves. Now, the first thing it would affect is heavy blows. Now, his damage will increase from 5 additional damage, 10 additional damage, and 15 additional damage at 25% meter field, 50% meter field, and 100% meter field. And then for Gamma Burst, at 25% meter field, the hitbox for Gamma Burst will expand 50%. And then at 50% meter field, it will expand by 125%. And then at 100% meter field, Gamma Burst will do 35 additional damage. Then, Incredible Guard, the first thing it will be able to do is freeze when the meter decays, so it won't decay anymore. But at 25%, it would also gain the effect to knock back enemies, about 5 meters. And then at 50%, it will knock them back an additional 5 meters. Well, no, not an additional 5 meters, an additional 3.5 meters. And then at 100%, it will knock them back another 3.5 meters. And then the last effect that Gamma Rage will give Hulk is damage reduction. At 25, it will only be 15% damage reduction. At 50, it will be 30% damage reduction. And at 100%, it will be 45 damage reduction. And that's the new passive I would give Hulk if I was making these patch notes. Now, Blake, what do you have to say about that new passive I would give the Hulk?
Low-key, pretty fire, because, bro, let's keep it honest. Dude, Hulk, you might as well just give him, like, a one-shot sword at this point, and he'd probably still be, like, bottom tier. So, good step in the right direction, low key. I hope if they do ever add something like that for like better scaling on Hulk, I think low key he could probably be top 10, easy, top 10 best hero. But dude, gotta add the green door in there somewhere, bro. It's the only thing I would change.
Bro. Honestly, I was worried I was making that passive a little too strong.
Yeah, I mean, dude, if it was me, I would have just been like, bro, when he dies, he comes back right out of the green door, 3 seconds later, fully in his, like, ult form, and you can use it, like, once per round.
Yeah, that would just be insane.
But, dude, it would be needed, though, bro, for the Hulk.
Yeah,
with how bad he is, that would be something you need to have.
Yeah.
For him.
But now, yeah, comics. Well, not even comic spoiler. That's like an old comic book at this point. Yeah, but now on to the DPS changes. First of all, I wouldn't change Black Widow, Mr. Fantastic, Iron Man, or Star-Lord, even though they did in fact touch Star-Lord. They touched him.
I'm glad they lowered his ult.
Yeah.
Makes him so much more fun to use.
Oh yeah, I forgot to include this, but I would increase ults not by the 20% like energy gain they did before, like during the season 7 patch notes. I'll just increase all of their energy cost to like by 35% or something. Make it longer for them to get it. For like every character. But the first character I would touch on the DPS character roster is Daredevil. Because last time me and Blake played the game, we got touched brutally and viciously.
39 and 2. Yeah. Because our teammates just couldn't figure out how to shoot him. It didn't help that you know our other DPS was complete buns outside of me. Right?
I was Ultron and he was still brutalizing me in the air. I was in the air and he was still brutalizing me as Ultron. Yeah. So what I would do is make all his moves gain 50% less fury. Because tell me why.
Divide all his damage by 80%.
No, because tell me why his deflection move fills up his bar instantly for fury. So after he does that, he can just walk you down. Because remember, that deflection does damage too. So he can deflect, deal damage with it, and then just rush you down still. Because some of his fury moves gives him armor. So he can just get that health back. The next person I would touch is Hawkeye. And I would basically decrease his base health to 20. When it was originally, 275. I just think he should be lower health as a Poke character. He can keep his escape abilities, he's just going to be lower on the health chart. And then for Iron Fist, I would make his primary fire do 10 base health instead of 8 base health. I just think he could use that little help in that attack department. His moves are good, fine for now. Then the next person I would touch is Storm. I would basically just make her alt move like 35% slower. Because why should she be able to move so fast and team wipe everyone? Blake here can tell you how many times we've just been run down by Storm. For like no reason other than her ult.
Dude, bro, we'd be having a Storm on the other team, right? They'd be like 3 and 9 or something. We would be railing them. Me specifically as Star-Lord, I'd be rushing them down. They pop an ult. Next time you look, somehow, because we got a rocket on our team, they're up to like 12.
Yeah.
And then it goes to like 18. Because then they pop their ult again, bro. Dumbest thing of all time, bro. Balance the character and the ult to be good, not just make them all ult focused, bro.
Yeah.
Swear to God.
Like, Storm is an okay character. Her ult boosts her a little too much with how fast it moves and how much damage it deals.
Yeah, like, bro, with at least with like Star-Lord, like his ult can carry him, but like, bro, at least you can do good with his like
base kit.
Like his base kit. But like,
all right.
Bro. Yeah, go ahead.
But the next character I would touch is Magic, and I'll make her base health like 275, mostly because she's a brawl type character, even though she can also dive. And her original base health was 250, but I just think it should be a little higher. And then after Magic is Firestorm. I would have his What? Bro said "oh" for no reason. But I would have
Firestorm, bro, he sucks.
I mean Human Torch. Why did I say Firestorm? But I would make his fire cluster. I would increase the fall off range. So instead of it starting the fall off at 15, what is it, 15 meters. I would have it at 20 meters. And then the maximum range would be at, what is it, 60% at 30 meters instead of the 20 it is right now. And then this flaming meteor, I would have it travel a bit faster at 100 meters per second instead of the 80 it is. And also have the radius not be 3 meters. Because tell me, why should the meteor, what is it, his meteor dive move, have a smaller radius than Doctor Strange's move? So I made the radius 8 meters instead of 3. It then also made the cooldown 12 seconds instead of 20. Because there's no reason for it to be 20 seconds. At least in my eyes. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. Then I would also make his plasma body movement boost 12 meters per second instead of the 2.5. Because tell me, why does a speed boost not feel like a speed boost? And then for his ult, I would make Supernova grant him 100 bonus armor. Well, bonus health. I just think it needs that little push. What about you? Do you think his ult needs that push or not?
I mean, kind of, but not. I don't think his ult needs to be touched too much. I think the damage needs to be just probably a decent bit higher, just to kind of maybe hard counter healer ults a little bit more, just because that team up with Storm isn't there. Because realistically, dude, his ult by itself is not doing all that much. You know?
Yeah, a little, I guess.
You guess, bro. Like, dude, Storm is like stronger base kit than him, yet has like a literal one-shot insta-kill ult. You know? At that point, you might as well give Firestorm something similar.
Nah, I just mean like a good Firestorm can make his ult like do a lot.
That's true. That's true. Like, it's also very situational as well.
Yeah. Now, the next character I would touch is Phoenix. Now, her health was originally 250, 175 now. Because, tell me, nah. And also, I removed her self-healing from all the explosions she can do. Because why does why does a poke character need self-healing? Tell me. Like, tell me that. Why would she need that?
Well, dude, of course she needs self-healing to, you know, maintain her immortality, like, you know, like the Phoenix, right? You know, we gotta make it lore accurate, where she's the strongest character that one-shots everybody on a headshot, right? You know?
Bruh. And then her telekinetic illusion. I decreased its damage from 50 to 20. Because again, why does her escape ability need to be able to kill people like that? Like, why is it 50 damage? It's an escape ability. My god.
Make it do 150, bro.
And I also increased its cooldown from 12 to 15 seconds. And then on to like one of the more goofier changes I did to a character is Moon Knight. I increased the bounce damage fall off. He's all his attacks have from 20 to 35. At least that's what I would do. And I would like basically move his character a little back and like have his Moonblade have one charge again. I don't know why they made it two, especially since it gives some armor now. I don't know why they did that. But I would also add a new passive to him called Avatars of Khonshu, where each of his personalities give him a random buff at a random time. And it can either be 15% damage reduction, 10% faster cooldowns, or 15% faster fire rate. That was just one of the more goofier changes that I want to put on the character to reflect their in-universe characterization. Like, I don't know about y'all, but I think that would be good. What about you, Blake?
I mean, yeah, well, you know what? You know what, man? Probably better, because that dude, Ki Hwan Du, couldn't even come up with something that decent.
Yeah, bro, that doesn't even sound Chinese. It sounded like you were just trying to say that in an African accent.
Bro, that did not even sound African. What are you talking? Ki Hwan Du, how does that sound? How does that sound African? In any way, shape, or form?
It sounded like you were trying to say a Chinese word in an African accent.
Dude, I don't even know how to do an African accent, bro. I don't even know what they sound like.
Sure, bro, sure.
How much, dude? I've never in my life, bro.
The next character is Namor. I would decrease his trident damage from 75 to 50, because for no reason should he fire them off that fast and do that much damage. And then I would also increase his damage fall off. Well, no, I would add damage fall off, because he doesn't even have actual damage fall off. So I would have it start at 20 meters and decrease to 60% at 30 meters. And I would also decrease his squid damage from 18 to 15 seconds, because that's what Namor really needs. Well, that, and also to stop being a team-up merchant. His team-up merchant powers are just too strong. Actually, now that you think about it, has he ever had a bad team-up? I don't think he has ever had a bad team-up. Namor.
No, I mean, they've all been like meta breaking, right? The Hella one is, the Gamma one is, what was the other one he had? He had a different.
The Ice one.
The Ice one was probably the most annoying, just because of the slow.
Nah, the Gamma one was definitely the most annoying, bruh. Just a squid that lasers you down.
Dude, the slow as a Star-Lord where you're trying to fly away and then you just get cucked, like you have 30 pounds of weight put on the bottom of your feet. No, bro.
Just cut off your hover boots.
Dude, it's like they took fucking like spider gel and they just shoved it constantly up my Star-Lord's anus, bro. That's genuinely what it felt like, bro.
Alright, then the next change I would make is to Psylocke. Basically, I would decrease the damage from like 160 per hit to just 140 and like remove its slow effects, because slowing down as soon as you touch this area, bruh, that you shouldn't even be running away anymore with how much it actually slowed you down. Like you were just in the area, just give up on life. Then Scarlet Witch is the way she dealt damage was actually fascinating to me because she deals 8 damage per 0.1 seconds, which is basically 80 damage per second. So I just changed it to 5 because my god, does that just suck you dry. Well, no, I probably even shouldn't just change it to 5. I should probably make it 6. That would probably be a bit more fair. She is DPS after all. But she does have a second fire, so I'm not going to keep it too high. Then, for Spider-Man, I didn't change his base kit too much. I gave him a new passive, though, because I really think Spider-Man needs a new passive. And basically, I would rework his spider sense to have it so he would auto-dodge whenever he hits 25% health or lower, but it only activates when he's on the ground, and it has a refresh period after he dodges once to a refresh period of 6 seconds. So after you dodge once, you have to wait 6 seconds to auto-dodge again. And then Squirrel Girl, which, my god, was I shocked when I first read this. Squirrel Girl in fact does 110 damage per Eggcorn. Now Blake, tell me, why would Squirrel Girl ever need to do 110 damage per Eggcorn?
Well,
like, what was that needed for?
The reason why is because it's lore accurate, right? She beat Thanos with a single squirrel. Okay, so if you lower anywhere between like below 100, dude, it's just inaccurate, right? So in fact, personally, I think once Thanos gets added to the game, he should take 300 damage per hit from Squirrel Girl instead. Personally speaking.
Yeah, just some insane work right there by the Marvel Rivals team. But I would decrease it down to 70 per Eggcorn, and then her Squirrel Tsunami, I would decrease his damage to like 112, which is still like a good bit of damage. But before it was 150. So you know if that Squirrel Girl got a good bounce off, like you were just standing in the corner of the room when she used it, you know you were dead. At least with
that and we gotta lower the ult gain on her main hits, bro.
Yeah, definitely. I also lowered Squirrel Tsunami's health by, what is it, from 300 to 250. Because why does the squirrels have more health than most of the Marvel Rivals characters? Why do they have more health than a DPS? There's no reason.
Solo Thanos, dude.
Yeah. Then Punisher. I'm going to have to open up his page real quick to really dive in to the damage he does. Now, his gun, what is it? Yeah, no, I'm just going to say his primary fire because I'm not pronouncing the name of this weapon. But basically, I changed, changed it from, it was originally 10 per round to 5 per round. Now, what do you think 10 per round is? It's 10 per round a second. 10 rounds a second, and it's 20 damage per round. Now, why does Punisher need to be doing damage like that? I don't know. He's a human. Why is his bullets damaging gods and everyone around like that? Yeah, but tell me,
why wouldn't it like 2-shot?
10 rounds per second, and each round is 20 damage. Like, bro. And you already know he has 40 ammo. Like, he's spraying and he could take out an entire team just by holding down that button. And then, for his turret, it works the exact same way. So I decreased it from 20 rounds per second this time. 20 rounds per second this time. To 13.
But why, though?
One. Because, oh wait, no. Mitch matched that. I changed the gun from 20 to 13 and the turret from 10 rounds per second to 5 rounds per second. And that was damage. How many
per second to what? What did you say? Did I miss
that?
So,
no, the gun was 20 damage per round, 10 rounds per second, and I changed that 20 to 10. No, I changed that 20 to 13. And then the turret was 10 damage per round, 12.5 rounds per second, and I changed that 10 to 5. Yeah, not removing the AoE.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I also decreased his ult from like 10 seconds to 7.
Yeah.
Which honestly, I wanted to do worse to him, but I'm a fair man. So I let him live. Now, the next character we touch in, I probably shouldn't have let live, but that character is Bucky. So I took Bucky's primary fire, and real quick, actually, before I get into the nerfs I did to him, let's talk about the slap on the wrist that Guan and the team gave him, by not even changing the direct hit damage, and instead changing the spell field damage, trying to distract people. Because, I don't know if people know this, but the bullet does 75 damage. The spell field is 65. All they did was reduce the damage on the spell field instead of the actual projectile. Which, my god, Guan, I didn't know you work in such nefarious ways trying to distract our eyes. but that is in fact devious. That is the most do-nothing nerf I've probably seen in the game. What about you, Blake? What do you think about that nerf?
I think Guang Guang needs to hire probably an old man off the side of the street that used to play Pong when he was a little kid, because honestly, that would probably end up 10 times better balanced than the little tiny minor nerf.
Yeah.
Personally speaking, that's what I'm thinking.
So what I chose to do instead was decrease the direct hit damage of the projectile to 60 and the spell field damage down to 50, while also reducing his bionic hook hitbox. Yeah, whatever, kill yourself. Now, bionic hook hitbox, I decreased that by 40% because for no reason should he miss my entire head and still grab the back of my neck and say, "Come here, boy."
And then two-shot you instantaneous.
Yes.
No reason for running.
Now, I know some people are controversial about his trooper fist basically dropping you down to the ground so that you can't escape anymore, but that's just one of his unique abilities that I think he should keep, at least for now.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then the next character I'm touching is Elsa Bloodstone, who I also hate.
Got her.
I also hate. So I'm decreasing her health because he gains bonus health anyway from 275 to 225. And I'm increasing her double barrel blast damage fall off from originally at the minimum 20 meters to 10 meters and decreasing the maximum. Decreasing the maximum to keeping the 70% damage. Damage decrease, but making it.
Correctly.
I'm gonna kill you. My mouth is just dry and I want to drink my water. Now I'm making it
Drink
30
your water.
meters. All right, I'm making it 30 meters to 20. Basically making it so he has to fight that much closer to the enemy team to actually get that maximum damage off.
I like that.
I'm also making her Ruthless Pursuit do 15 damage instead of 30. Because why? Why is she dashing into me, blasting me up into the air, 30 damage right there, shooting me again? Ooh, 60 purebred damage for free. Brother. She doesn't need all that damage.
Oh, dude, she needs more damage because her tits get bigger, bro. Tit buff, tit nerf, bro. Can't do it. Only
And then I'm increasing the, cooldown to it from 8 seconds to 10 seconds. I think that's good. I don't think that's going too far, but it is what it is. Some people may have to have their complaints, but I don't care. Oh yeah, and the last thing I would change about her is decreasing the living bullet damage from 60 to 50. Honestly, even 50 may be too generous, because why is a bullet that has auto aim just tracking you down, moving through the entire map to kill you, do 60 damage?
Bro, low can't do that. Low Kirkwinley reminds me of Whole Horse from ABA, bro.
Yeah.
Niche reference, but if y'all catch it, y'all catch it.
Yeah. And honestly, I was watching a video of Elsa Bloodstone gameplay, and I watched the Spider-Man try to run away from her living bullet. Tell me why he used all his swings to swing to the other side of the map. He lands on the ground. Ooh, that bullet's right there waiting for him. Already there behind his neck and digging into his skull. There's basically no escape, and it does that much damage. Not needed. Now, on to the next terrorist known as Hela. Decreasing her 250 health from 250 to 175. Because again, someone of her caliber doesn't need health. The goddess of death, why do you need to live? Tell me.
You're already
you
on
don't.
death's doorstep.
What were you gonna say?
I said she's already on death's doorstep, bro. She literally lives there, bro. She should just sit in the lobby the entire game. That should be it. That should be all that she does.
Now, I made her Night Sword fall off, start at 15 meters instead of the 18 it was at before, and I made the damage decrease from 70 to 75 because F you. And I kept the maximum the same at 30 meters, but still F you. Then her one bird escape ability, the Astral Flock, yeah, I removed the invincibility for that. You can keep that small hitbox. You don't need that invincibility though.
Yeah, bro, you're still a bird. You're still a bird, bro. Yeah. You should not be allowed at like 2 HP to just go invincible and fly into your team.
I also removed the bonus armor, bonus health, because you don't need that either if you're decreasing your hitbox and still flying away.
Exactly.
I also decreased how far you could get away from 18 to 50 meters. You don't need that extra distance. F you.
Why? Bro, if you're going to run, face your problems. Face them. You might as well die by our hand. Straight up.
Yeah. Nobody likes Hela.
Players, bro.
Yeah,
we hate Hela, bro. Honestly, dude, she's not going to let you sit your head between her thighs, bro. It's not going to happen. It's not.
Yeah, you're not getting the golf patty. Now, her Piercing Knight, I'm going to give you this one grace and give you a new effect for Piercing Knight. Now, the new effect is going to be called Fear, and for every dagger of Piercing Knight you hit, your enemy screen gets 6 or 8% more blurrier, and they also panic, causing the character to use 2 ammo instead of 1. But I'm gonna say F you hella one more time. Goddess of Death ult health decreased from 1,000, because why do you need 1,000 to 600?
Yes, sir.
Because again, why does your ult need to be semi-invincible? Why does it need 1,000 hit points?
As a regular DPS, bro.
Yes. Why does it need 1,000 hit points? Tell me, Guan Guan. Why?
Ain't no purpose for it, bro. You should
She's
not,
the
like,
goddess of death.
Bro, even Punisher with his ult doesn't get that much extra AP, if any at all, bro. Why does Hela, who does probably a still insane amount of damage, get to be invincible while also up in the sky? Like,
yeah. Like, you already know our teammates don't know how to look up when Iron Man's flying in the sky. So why would it be any different for the 1,000 HP Hela?
Yeah, like, dude, why can I, as Star-Lord, get shot out of the sky with my base health in, like, 5.2 seconds, maybe even less, but Hela just gets to run out her entire ult completely safe almost 99% of the time? Unless Punisher counter-ults and kills her.
Then the next thing I did to her ult was decrease the damage from 125 per shot to just a plain 100. And then I added non-direct hit damage, because you don't need that whole AoE to do 100 damage. I made non-direct hits 50 damage, because we all know, fuck you Hela, nobody likes you.
Yes. Yes.
Alright, bro, there was no reason for you to do all that.
What? Why not?
We hate Hela, but you just sounded like a snake right there, bro.
Nah, bro. What are you talking about, bro?
You sounded like a snake. Simple and plain.
Yes. Right? No, like, damn snake, bro. What are you talking about?
Alright, bro. Whatever you say, whatever you say. Now, on to the next change I would make. Black Panther. Now, we all know the Garbenzo do nothing nerf that Guan Guan, of course, gave Black Panther. That wall jump, that
bonus
didn't even
extra
need...
jump, bro. One jump, that's all they gave, bro.
Yeah,
no
I have
damage,
no idea.
no extra dash, nope, one jump.
We buff Black Panther. Most do
Black
nothing
Panther
buff.
Black Panther's agility is off the charts.
Yeah. So what I would do is make Black Panther's ult move 20% faster and instantly fill his new passive ability that I'm about to give him. Now, I'm reworking his passive, which was originally at below 100 health, he would gain 20% damage boost. Now, I'm reworking that for after every successful Spirit Rend, Black Panther shoot gathers the kinetic energy from him touching the enemy to get a 5% damage boost. But you only get 5% after every, after your 3 successful dashes, for a total of 25%. Now, the successful dash, it's not just going to be dash and every opponent you hit is a successful dash. No, one input, one enemy. After you hit one dash and hit one enemy, you're not getting any more successful dashes. So, you're going to have to press the dash multiple times. You better hit that refresh if you want that damage boost. Actually, I don't even think that explains it well. What I'm saying is, when you dash and hit one enemy, you get the mark for a successful dash, but any enemy hit after that, you're not getting the mark until you hit the dash button once again.
Okay.
Now, for everyone's favorite Daywalker, Blade. Guan Guan, I didn't even actually read that after the Black Panther when I kind of closed those patch notes up.
Dude, he actually made it pretty good. He's basically like a semi-tank now. He's actually quite strong. I'd say he's in a pretty decent spot right now. I wouldn't
nice.
too much on him.
That actually sounds nice, but we're going to compare that to the, changes I made, which is to Scarlet Shrewd. I decreased the energy cost. Yeah, I decreased the energy cost from 60. Alright, bro. I have a lot of stuff written down. Now I decreased the energy cost from 60 to 25 per second. And I changed the special effect, which was originally for every 200 damage you took, you would get one Daywalker charge back. I changed that from 200 to 100. Because, tell me, are you really blocking 200 damage with the flimsy block of Blade? I don't think so. Now, Bloodline Awakening, I changed that to no longer include the self anti-heal effect it had before. Well, self-healing reduction, which was insane. Why does he need healing reduction on himself when he's supposed to be giving it to people? I didn't really get that.
Dude, the mysteries of Guan Guan and his team, unfathomable intelligence, bro.
Now, Daywalker dash damage, I increased it from 20 to 25, and also increased the anti-heal per hit from 8 to 10% for a total of 40% anti-heal, and instead of lasting 4 seconds, I made it last 6. And also, the shotgun and the shotgun and sword effects for both dashes, I made them non-separate. I don't know if people would agree to that, but that's just personally what I would do. Then for 1,000-foot slash, I would have it last 6 seconds instead of 2, and do 125 damage instead of just 100. Well, no, 100, I read that so wrong. 120 on direct hit from the dash itself instead of just 100. And I increased the anti-heal to 40%, which I think Guan Guan himself did, which I think is good. And I also made it last 10 seconds instead of 4 because that's ridiculous. And now we're going to get into the changes I would make to the Strategist. Now, Mantis and Rocket, I wouldn't touch them. Mantis, I think, is in a good place. Rocket, I just didn't know what to do with him. Not even going to lie. They, like, forced him into it.
Fine, though.
Yeah, he's fine, but also he's just, like, a heal bot. He's the heal bodiest heal bot. No interesting gameplay from him. And Gambit, I didn't do too big of a change on him. I made it so his ult speed boost does 40% instead of 50. And that's about all I did to him. And then Adam Warlock, I changed his soul bond cooldown from 40 seconds to 20, but I will still keep the global cooldown because that, at least for it, was a good idea, not the 40-second cooldown. Some people want a bit too much. Now Ultron, I made it so that he could fight from a little farther, making his minimum fall off 30 meters and maximum fall off 40 meters. I also increased the damage he does in his ult from 8 to 12 damage, since I think he needs that. I think he just needs that a little. Now Jeff, I made him move a little back, basically a little back into Prime Jeff, but just not as strong. I removed the damage from Joyful Splash, gave him 8 charges of Aqua Burst, and made it so he can stay in his hide and seek a little longer by decreasing the energy cost from 20 per second to 10 per second, and increasing the energy recovery from 15 per second to 20 per second. And then on to Luna Snow, who I didn't really do too much to her. I removed her #1 idol ability because no, she did not need that self heal. I don't care what people say, she didn't need it. There was no reason to add that ability. Guan was just mad his favorite wasn't in a good spot. Not even that she wasn't even in a good spot. Just she wasn't in the highlight position.
Yeah, she wasn't #1 in the entire game.
Yeah. So I decreased
I need to see more Asian booty cheeks, man. Come on.
Yeah. So I decreased her primary fire's healing and damage from 22 to 19, and also reduced her ult's healing from 25 per second, which is a crazy amount. That's basically full bar healing for most heroes, from 25 health to 120. Because like what do you think of that? Most heroes in this game have 250 health. That's basically instant regeneration, as if they were Wolverine.
Exactly. Which they, like, why?
Did you say ejaculate?
What?
Did you just say ejaculate?
I did not say ejaculate, bro. Exactly. Get your mind out of the gutter, bro.
No, bro, you definitely said that.
No, I did not say ejaculate, bro. I know you want to, I'm not.
No, you said ejaculate.
No,
Where's your mind at, bro?
I did not say that, bro. Swear to God I did.
Now, into the changes I'll do for Loki. I would decrease his health from 275 to 250, but increase the healing his magic, his mystical missiles do, from 10 to 12, because they didn't need to be decreased, bro. I don't really know why they did that.
Why we nerfed Loki, bro? He's not even, like, in the top 20.
And then I would rework his backstab ability so that when Loki is invisible behind the enemy, he does 20% more damage, and his first shot does knockback, throwing them into your allies, and also stuns them for about 5 seconds. But the biggest change I made to Loki is that I would add a scroll wheel to God of Mischief. Because not gonna lie, back in Season 0, when this dude actually played Loki, you cannot count the times on your fingers of the times he would miss his change into a different character.
Like, bro, but how is that my fault, though? You have, like, 12 people all in one concentrated area with shots being fired everywhere, all kinds of stuff all over your screen, bro. It's like, sometimes, like, it's just hard to isolate the Luna Snow or something in the background. Like, when you just need a quick heal, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's why I changed it so that it has a scroll wheel for, like, any hero that appears in front of you.
Or, like, just in the match in general, bro, would be even better.
Yeah. Then for Cloak and Dagger, the changes I made to them was decrease their health from 275 to 225, and I decreased the amount of damage Dark Force does, which is Cloak's primary fire, from 80 to 50 per second. I also made Terror Cape last 2 seconds, made the blindness for that last 2 seconds instead of the 1.5 it was before, and I made the vulnerability increase from 28% to 35%, and last 4 seconds instead of 3 seconds. Now I also decreased Terror Cape damage from the 55 it was before to 40, because not gonna lie, with the 2 charges it has, Cloak is kind of terrorizing people with Terror Cape. I did also increase Dark Teleportation from 2 seconds to 3.5, just because I think that's a helpful boost. It doesn't really last that long. It's not really good escapability because you don't even really travel anywhere.
Yeah, you just kind of go invisible and piss people off for a hot second. That's about it.
Yeah. I also increased the boost to healing that Light Veil does from 15% to 20%, and I also changed their ult to, what is it, only last 8 seconds instead of the 13 it was before, because it doesn't need to last that long. And I decreased the damage from the 250 was before to 18. Not 18. Actually, nah. Let's just do 18. But I increased the damage it does from 13 per second to 55. So not only is it like a decent heals, but also the enemy's gonna have to run off of it because it's gonna be doing mad damage to them.
Oh, did you say, hold on, did you say 55 from 13?
30. It
Oh, from
deals
30,
55 damage per second from 30.
Okay, I was about to say, yeah. Dude, I might have to, like, hang you for that. Like, that is insane.
Alright, bro.
Genuine to God, that would... Ooh. Ooh, bro.
Alright, bro. Now, Invisible Woman, the change I would make to her is decrease her base health from 275 to 225. And also, her primary fire. I would decrease its damage from 30 and 10 on the return. It wasn't 10 on the return, it was 15. Whatever. From 30 and 15 on the return to 15 on the launch and 10 on the return. And also change the healing from 45 and 35 on the return to 30 and 15 on the return. But in change, I would make her Guardian Shield 16% bigger, but also decrease the healing from 15 per second to 30, and decrease the self healing from 25 per second to 15 per second, but also increase the health of the shield to 450 instead of the 200 it is right now. And force physics, I would change it to make, well no, I would change it so that the enemy gets pushed back further than what it already does. And the Vortex ability Invisible Woman has, I would make it so that the edge actually gives a slow effect, but only 25%, because I think the center does 50, if I remember that correctly. But I'm not going to make it so that the effect instantly disappears once you're out of the vortex. It's going to decay after 3 seconds. Well, no, it's going to decay in 3 seconds. Then I would also make it so that the vortex, when it hits you, it just doesn't stop and expand. It drags you back to its maximum range. But the biggest change I would make is the Invisible Woman's ult, which I would change it from being a healing circle to turning into an actual wall that heals its allies that are standing behind it while slowing down the enemies. Now the wall will be 27 meters long and 15 meters high, and it will curve in a 15, and it will curve from the center 15 degrees, and the healing will be reduced from 180 to 115, and the healing range from behind the wall will be 15 meters back, and any enemy in front of the wall will be slowed down 30% when it was originally 20. No, I read that wrong. 30%.
Lock in, bro. Lock in.
I'm gonna shoot you. I'm very much gonna shoot you. Yeah, whatever,
Dude,
bro.
you admit just like how bad all your aim is on DPS. Ooh.
My aim on DPS isn't even bad. You saw what I did to that Phoenix as Moon Knight. Jump straight onto their back, leave them from behind.
You cannot say my aim's not even that bad and mention Moon Knight in the same sentence, bro.
Well, one, you still need aim to use Moon Knight. I don't know what you're talking about. Plus, it wasn't even a group of people. It was a singular Phoenix who, guess what? I railed from behind.
You railed her unconsensually from behind?
Yes.
Yo,
But what about it?
Admitting is crazy. But low-key, dude, if it is Phoenix, I'd do the same, bro. I fucking hate that bitch so much.
Now, the slow range will be 30% instead of the 20 it was before, and the slow rate will be 65% from the 55 it was before, and it will last 5 seconds instead of the 1 second it was before. And those are all the changes I would make to Invisible Woman and the rest of the Marvel Rivals cast. Now, Blake, what do you think of all the changes I made to these characters?
I think, dude, low-key, pretty W on all of them. Only thing, dude, you just gotta make sure that you buff Bucky in the next patch. We can't be having to get nerfed again.
It will be a cold day in hell before I decide to buff Bucky. But everyone in the comments, give your thoughts on these buffs and nerfs that I gave the characters. What would you change personally? But right now, that's all the changes I can think of, and that's going to be the end of this video.